Interestingly, when I first encountered books by Jane Austen, Shakespeare, um, and all the rest, um, it didn't occur to me that those were not my stories. Keep in mind, I grew up in Nigeria, former colony, um, and our educational system was still, and is still built on the British system, right? So for me, it was just those are the stories. But I became so, and then of course, we also read books in a series called Mills and Boon, which was I don't even know if it's still around, but they were books about, they were romance novels, and I still love romance novels to this day. They were romance novels, not at the same level of Jane Austen, but just great stories about people falling in love and so on. Between Mills and Boon and Jane Austen, Shakespeare, and all of that, I became familiar with just a medley of characters who all did not look like myself. They were all white. I remember the descriptions of the women, and when I was reading them, it didn't even occur. Me and my friends traded Mills and Boon books. You know, we just, you know, we would read one, we would trade it. The women were all blonde, blue-eyed, sometimes brunette. We didn't even know what brunette meant, you know. The men were always tall, dark, and handsome. It never occurred to us that tall, dark, and handsome for white people is different from tall, dark, and handsome for us, right? And so we kind of grew up with those images, and then I decided to start thinking about who I was as a human being. I think it helped that my mother was from Trinidad, my father was from Nigeria, so that already kind of stoked kind of musings about identity, right, in someone like me. Both Black, but so different, you know. And so I started thinking about how the stories I was reading were not stories about either my mom's people or my dad's people. There were stories about these people far away. At the time also, Michael, I was going to an American Lutheran missionary school in Nigeria. And there were very few Nigerians in this school. Most of my classmates were white. I have pictures of myself with these classmates. And it became very clear to me, even as early as elementary school, that I was different. They were different from me, and I was different from them. And so the stories that I was reading in Jane Austen were stories that were about them, but not about me.